Hello, it's Tanya and Amelia from Coffee Catch-ups podcast, and you are listening to Coffee Catch-ups Espresso on Cross Rhythms Plymouth. Hello, Amelia. How's it going?
Whoop, whoop, hello.
Whoop, whoop,
it's
hello.
going very well.
Catchphrase.
Thank you. It's going very well. What are we talking about today?
So today we're talking about worry. Now I'm aware that worry is quite a big subject, isn't it?
Just a little bit. Yeah.
But everybody worries. We all have our worries, and we thought it'd be good to chat about it and chat a little bit about how to help yourself when you're worrying, or how to advise friends when they're sort of overcome with worry. So, Amelia, I'm gonna start ask you a question.
Go for it.
Would you say that you worry a lot?
Yeah, I do. I wouldn't say a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I try to worry less than I used to. I have been a relatively anxious person for a fair bit of my life, but it's one of those things that I haven't really picked up on about myself until more recent years. And I don't know whether that's come with maybe kind of just adulthood, and there are more things that we kind of need to really be aware of.
And you're like, why was I worried about that?
No, yeah, exactly.
Proper fish to fry.
It's like when you kind of go from first year of uni to second year of uni, and you go, oh my goodness, I did not have any problems last year, because this is a lot. But yeah, I mean,
what kind of things would you say you worry about?
I worry about my finances. Yeah, that's a huge one. I mean, we're in recession right now. It's difficult, isn't it? Finances. My car, bless my car, it is 21 years old and still going.
It can legally drink in America.
And you can't say that about a lot of cars. You can't. It's a very special car.
It's very true.
But and it's, praise God, it's going very well right now. But sometimes I go, oh, what if it breaks down tomorrow?
Yeah.
Will I be able to kind of handle that? I don't know. There's loads of things. What kind of sorry, I'm going to ask that again. What kinds of things do you worry about?
Well, it varies from small things to to big things. So sometimes
sorry.
Yeah. So some of the bigger things for me are things that am I ever going to have a partner? That's a big one for me. I'd love to have a long-term partner. And also with my job. So for those of you who don't know, I'm an actor. So the nature of my job is that you get one job and then you get another one, and you get another one. And there are points where you don't have anything booked in, and you worry massively about where your next paycheck is coming from. And so that can be really consuming. But then also smaller worries. I sometimes get the worry, when you have to get up early.
Yeah.
And you have to get up something like maybe 5:30, something really early, and you worry all that night whether you're gonna get up on time.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So you do that thing that where you go to sleep and then you wake up at 1:00 because you're like, I've got to wake up early, and then 2:00 wake up, and that's rooted in worry as well. So there's a lot in there, both big and small, that I personally worry about, and there have been points in my life where I think my worry turned into anxiety. Where I mainly I let myself ruminate so much on my worries that it became a real anxiousness.
Yeah.
And then I found myself kind of sometimes dropping into really negative and despairing thoughts. I remember having a really, really painful and difficult breakup. And I was so sort of emotional, but also worried about my future from it. And it's not necessarily, worry isn't necessarily rational. And this is kind of what I was experiencing, that I worked myself up into believing that this was my forever, this mental state, this emotional state was going to be my forever, and things were never going to get better. Yeah. And I just allowed that to become this huge, huge thing. It wasn't a conscious decision. It's just what happened. So yeah, that's some of the danger, I think, with worry, is that we can let it rule us. Let us stop sleeping, stop eating healthily, stop whatever it is. We can let worry really consume us. So we are going to talk more about this. We're going to talk more positively about this after we listen to some music. We're going to come back and we're going to chat a little bit about ways that we found helpful to deal with worry, and ways that we hope that maybe you might also find helpful, whether you're dealing with huge worries or whether those small little ones that are affecting you as you're listening. So let's have a little listen to some tunes. We'll be back in a moment.
Hello, welcome back to Coffee Catch-ups Espresso on Cross Rhythms Plymouth. We are talking today about quite a big topic, which is worry.
Yeah.
We all have worries in life, whether those are big or small. We've gone through a few of the things that we worry about ourselves. It's a very human thing to worry, normal part of life. But Tanya, I've got a question for you. You know, as we've said, there are different kinds of worry, but I think sometimes we can get mixed up between hypothetical worry and practical worry.
Great, really good point. And this is a really helpful thing I found in my own journey with worry, that I learned not just in therapy sessions, but also it is a common tool that they use in like CBT and things like that. But also weirdly, there's a section of the Bible which is also talking about this, which is really, really weird. So I really struggled with sort of crippling worry and anxiety when I was going through a really rough part of my life. And this strategy of just identifying the differences in these two worries was really helpful. So hypothetical and practical worry, what are they? Well, hypothetical worry is when you worry about the things that are hypothetical. Yeah. You can't solve them right now. They are things like in the future things. They're like, I don't know, I'll use the example I used earlier of, I'm going to die alone. I'm really worried about that. Well, it's a hypothetical. You've got no control over it right now. Practical worry is something that you can do. So like, I know I'm worried about the amount of work I've got to do. I've got to do this, this, and this, and this. Or I'm worried because I've been procrastinating from this and I need to do it. And so often one of the most useful things when you find yourself going, I'm just thinking about this, is to use this really simple technique of going, can I do anything about it now? If the answer is yes, then the next question is, can I do anything about it now? If the answer is yes, then do it.
Yeah.
If the answer, can I do anything about it now, is no, schedule it in. And that a simple act of scheduling when you're going to solve this problem is so alleviating of your mental health.
Yeah, so
it's
true.
Like so good. Then we go right back, can you do anything about it now? If the answer is no, can you solve this? Are you able to do it now? Is it hypothetical or is it practical? If it's hypothetical, then this is where that work of letting it go comes in. And it's difficult, but that discipline of trying to go, actually, I can't do anything about this. And just saying that over yourself and going, I can't do anything about this now. Why am I wasting my energy on it? Is really helpful.
So true.
So those two, for me, those just identifying hypothetical, practical, was really helpful. And interestingly, if you're interested in the Bible section that relates to this that I was talking about earlier, it comes from Matthew 6. And there's a section in which it talks, do not worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow has enough worries of its own. Worry about today. And what that is Jesus literally going, can you do anything about it now? No, then don't worry.
Yeah, absolutely so true. And I think a lot of this hypothetical worry particularly comes from a place of, you know, it's the not knowing what's going to happen. And I think particularly in situations like work conflict can be quite, or personal conflict, whatever it is, where you don't know what the other person's going to do, what they're going to say. And particularly if it's drawn out, like more than just the moment that you're in, it can be really, really anxiety inducing. But I think what you've just said is absolutely spot on, is that actually, like, can I do anything about this now? No, I can't control how this other person's going to react. What I can control is what I say and what I do. And actually, like, you know, is what I say and what I do, like, is that the right thing to do? And that is what you can control. And actually in those situations, like work conflict, for example, you know, if you are acting in a way that you know is right, that's all you can do. And acting kindly. And acting in an understanding way towards the other person. But yeah, love that so much. We are going to be back in just a moment. We're going to listen to some music. We're going to be back with some strategies to alleviate some of this worry.
Sounds fantastic. Can't wait.
See you in a bit.
Whoop, whoop, hello and welcome back. Yes.
It's become a thing.
Who is it? Who could it be with starts a greeting like whoop, whoop, hello?
It could only be Coffee Catch-ups Espresso with Amelia and Tanya.
Absolutely. There's no other people crazy enough to use that greeting.
We're such weirdos.
We are indeed. Welcome. Weirdos are welcome here because we are they, them, they, whoever.
Speaking of which.
So, this episode, we've been talking about worry.
Yes, we have.
We've been discussing what the difference between hypothetical and practical worry is.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do anything about it now? No? Okay, well, it's time to try and let that go. Now, there lies some of the problem.
Yes.
The letting go of worries. Amelia, do you have any practical advice or strategies for helping to try and alleviate some of the worry when it's really difficult?
It is really difficult. And I think, the main thing I would say is almost exactly what we have said, to be honest, is can I control it now? Can I do anything about it? No. Can I control it at any point? No. Let it go. One of the things I found out from my mum, actually, she's very good at helping to kind of visualise these kinds of things. And she always told me to, in my head, put the thing in a box, shut the box, give the box to Jesus, and just kind of have that. Just it's if you work well with mental imagery, that's a really powerful thing. It's actually okay. Shut the box, give it to Jesus, or just put it away, and actually like it's almost that mentally visualizing, taking your hands off it. Is a really good thing to do, but also again look through what you can control. And what can I do in this moment right now? Maybe sometimes it might help to journal about it. Like get a pen, write down everything, get out all of your frustrations.
Yeah.
I think talking to friends as well is a really great practical thing to do, because actually if you've got people around you that you trust or family or whoever that is, maybe even your line manager or a colleague, sit down and go, hey, I'm really worried about this thing. And actually a lot of the time, because we are so good at kind of ruminating on these things and thinking about them so much and making them bigger in our heads, and they just kind of grows and grows and grows, actually sitting down and talking to somebody else about it who doesn't have that worry themselves can be really helpful. But also on that line of thinking, I've made the mistake before of talking to someone about a worry and they share that worry, and because then you are both worried about it, it can amplify it a lot. And I've actually had to take a step back a couple of times and go, oh, actually this isn't the person I'm supposed to be talking to about this. Because as much as there's solidarity in that, and it can be helpful sometimes to kind of, this person understands, therefore we're going to talk about it, actually talking to somebody who doesn't share that worry can be really helpful, because they can go, hey, I appreciate you're worried about that, and that's so valid, but let's sit down and just think about this a little bit more practically. Stop kind of making it really huge in your head. Actually, this is what's really happening. Or, let's just kind of focus on what we can control, or whatever it is.
Love that.
Can be really, really helpful. How about you? Have you got anything helpful for us?
Well, I love everything that you're saying, and I think it's really helpful. Weirdly, it depends on what headspace you're in. Sometimes actually not talking to people about it is helpful, because actually you'll just, like you say, amplify the problem. Yeah. So actually sometimes a really good thing is distraction.
Yeah,
if you're thinking about something and worrying about something that you can't do anything about right now, and you think, how do I stop myself? Distract yourself. And I remember at one point feeling really guilty about distracting myself. And at the time, my therapist said to me, well, don't worry. Eventually, you won't need to distract yourself anymore.
Yeah, so true.
So if it's a tool that's useful, and so for me at the time, it was watching comedy. It would distract me from the worries that prevented me from getting to sleep. Now, that's not necessarily the blueprint for everyone, but there'll be something that can distract you. And that could be people, but maybe people who you're not going to talk to about your worries. Just those people. We've all got those friends that we go out and we have fun with.
Yes.
And that can be really good at alleviating worry. Another technique, which works for some people, doesn't for others, is the worry window. And the worry window is a period of time that you set yourself. It's to try and help stop your rumination getting out of hand.
Sure.
Where all you do when you have a spare moment to think, when you're driving home from work or walking to to the shops or whatever, that your brain just is on this one worry, and it just gets worse and worse and worse, and it's all hypothetical. You've identified it's hypothetical. You don't know how to help, and you're just thinking about it. Well, the worry window can be really helpful, because what you do is you earmark, half an hour, say. Where that half an hour between 6 and a half, 6 is where I'm going to worry, where I'm going to let my brain think about all of this stuff and worry about it. And then as soon as that 6:30 time bell that I've set myself goes, I'm not going to worry about it.
Interesting.
And what it does is it allows yourself to actually think through some of the stuff that you might need to, whilst also not letting it occupy all of your time.
Sure.
Now, it may not work for you. It was helpful for me for a period, but it hasn't always been helpful. So that's just another a tool in your arsenal of helping to distract yourself from worry.
Yeah, do you know what? That's really interesting. I'd never thought about that whole thing, and because I think when you said distraction, I was like, oh, I absolutely agree. But it's really important to let yourself feel your emotions.
Yeah.
And so there's an extreme you can go to with both of those things, isn't there? Whereas you can distract yourself, and that's brilliant. It's a really good way of stopping worrying, particularly if it's hypothetical. But also it's really important to, if you've got a lot of emotions around this, it's really important to process what you're feeling and not just put it in a box, which is not what you were saying, I realise. No. But also, then you don't want to kind of sit on it and ruminate over it a lot of the time. And so something like the worry window is really quite a great way of dealing with that. I love it.
It's good. It is a good technique. And I think what you start with is is it hypothetical? Is it not? Another thing I've heard people do, which is the same as is it hypothetical, is it practical, is called the worry tree, which is used in CBT. So if you want something, if you like, what was that thing they were saying about hypothetical and practical? A good thing to look up is the worry tree, which will take you through step by step what we said. Really great place to start, and then use that techniques alongside the understanding of why you're worried.
Yes,
and the root of it.
For sure. One thing that I found really helpful, I was when I was taking my driving test, actually, I took 4 attempts to pass my driving test, because I didn't realise it, but I had a lot of other stuff in my head before I got in the car, and that was just really unhelpful. And I actually had a therapy session before I went. I don't regularly attend therapy, but it was something that my instructor suggested trying, and chatted with a lady who specialises in PTSD, and it was sort of an experiment to see whether they could do it with drivers who were nervous about taking their driving test. And she said to me, all of this extra stuff that's in your head, write it down as you get in the car. Take a piece of paper with you, write it down, put it away, and then drive. Yeah. And because, I was getting so anxious before my tests, which was the main reason I wasn't passing, really, because I'm a good driver. But it was so helpful. Oh my goodness, it was so helpful just to kind of go, this is all the stuff that's in my head. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to put it away, and then I'm going to do the thing that I've got to do.
And you know what I want to add on to that as a little challenge, if you have a faith, if you know Jesus, but also if you want to try giving it a go, what I suggest as well is another really cool thing to do is to do just what you said, but do it maybe in prayer or in meditation, where you give that to Jesus. And one of the great things about knowing Christ is that actually you are not walking alone, and that you can actually have somebody to lay some of your worries on that can help to alleviate that. I've definitely noticed that in my own life, and I'm sure you have as well, Amelia. Yeah. So there's a little challenge for you if you are worried, and when you get to points in your life where you are worried, why not give them to Jesus?
Amen.
Amen. Right, we're going to listen to some music, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about snacks in Snack Chat.
Snacks.
Yes. Hello and welcome back. You are listening to Coffee Catch-ups Espresso with Tanya and Amelia, and this is the section of our show where we talk about snacks. Yes, it is snack chat.
It's back.
Oh, yes. Now, I am a big fan of breakfast.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. Whoop, whoop, yes. And I wanted to ask you, what is the ultimate, the best breakfast?
Oh, that is a great question. Do you know what? I do enjoy breakfast. It's not my favourite meal of the day, although it should be. But do you know what? I do really enjoy a good full English. It's so great.
But a good one.
But a good one.
A good one, because that is the point.
Absolutely. There is such a thing as a disappointing full English.
There is.
So a good one. We're talking hash browns. I know this is controversial, but I am partial to black pudding. Sausages, bacon, beans, mushrooms, egg.
Great.
Amazing. So great. I'm not a fan of tomato, I have to say. But
it is weird on a breakfast.
Yeah.
I personally love tomatoes, but I find the way do they fry it or do they?
Yeah.
I don't know what they do on a English breakfast, and I go, this is not the best way that a tomato should be enjoyed.
No, absolutely not.
Give me a tomato salad any day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But great choice. A classic and very British, so well done.
Very British,
very patriotic.
There are many breakfast foods that I enjoy, but that is when you say to me ultimate breakfast, that is what I think of.
And one of the good things about having a full English breakfast is you generally, it really fills you up. And like I find that I do not eat much throughout the rest of the day because I've had such a big breakfast. So,
no lunch required.
Yeah, great. Mine is an Eggs Benedict.
Yes, so good.
Yes.
Love me an Eggs Benedict.
Now, interestingly, I sometimes hear that eggs get too much of the breakfast love.
Really?
Like, breakfast is essentially all about eggs, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I know people who think that eggs have dominated breakfast for far too long, but an Eggs Benedict for me is top tier.
So good.
Top
so
tier.
good. Now I'm gonna flip the question.
Okay.
What's the most disappointing breakfast you ever had?
Oh no, I know exactly. Oh, this was devastating. I'm still really emotional about it. Might even cry. Once upon a time, I was in Banbury in Oxfordshire,
right?
Which isn't the most beautiful place.
Okay.
It's not the most beautiful place at all.
Interesting.
And I was at I was there for work, and we were staying overnight at this hotel, which was also a Green King.
Okay.
And the night before, I'd had a lovely Hunter's chicken.
Very nice.
Lovely,
yeah, lovely.
Really good, well cooked. So the next day, like I'd looked and pre-ordered my breakfast before going to work, and I'd ordered avocado and toast with a poached egg on top.
Oh, I remember you telling me about this. Yeah.
And I was really excited about it. And you know when you're away for work, so you're working, but the thought of this free food that the company's paying for just really excites you. And I was so excited, got up, and then I got my delivery of food to my table, and it was one bit of slightly soggy bread with four thin slices of avocado that was...
Yeah, no.
That wasn't even mashed up. They hadn't even mashed it up.
No.
And then the egg that came with it was in its own little pot. Like it wasn't on top of the avocado that was disappointing, that didn't even fill half this slice of disappointing toast that wasn't really toast. And then I was like, I can't really eat this. And so I cut into the egg just to see if the egg would be the only thing I could eat. And it was completely cold wasn't runny like you want a poached egg to be.
That's devastating.
And I was so upset. I sent it back, and they were like, oh, it's fine. It's what you ordered. And I was like, that is the worst avocado on toast. And I love avocado on toast.
Yeah.
It was the worst avocado on toast I ever had. And then, and they were like, oh yeah, we can make you something else. But by that point, I had to go to work. So I was so excited about my breakfast.
Devastating.
And it was the biggest come down because I ended up going to work with no food.
Mate,
tragic.
That's so sad. I'm so sorry.
I can still get emotional about it to this day.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell.
What is the most disappointing breakfast you've had?
Well, I mean, I don't know about disappointing. I mean, mostly because I was expecting it. I knew what I was signing myself up for. But when I lived in Peru, we had porridge for about 2 months straight, with the exception of 2 or 3 days where we treated ourselves to pancakes. But we had these huge bags of oats that we had to get through. And the first week that we were there, we'd not managed to go to the supermarket yet. And so we didn't have milk. And we had to make up our porridge with water. And we also didn't have sugar. And it was we literally just had to eat oats with water.
You're like a horse.
It was not, yeah, that's how it felt. But oh my goodness. And it was like, we know we have to eat this because we have to energise for the day. But my days, that was not pleasant.
That really, really puts into context into perspective my story about avocado and toast that wasn't very good.
Is there
now
the
I
middle
look
class
silly.
answer? And then the person that lived in a shanty town for 2 months.
I see. That's how it is. That's how it is.
No, I was not trying to steal the moral high ground there. But,
no, it's okay.
But yeah, no, that was not the greatest time. But do you know what? Once we had milk, it was tolerable.
all right.
And the sugar made it a lot better as well. But it was still porridge for 2 months.
Yeah.
I couldn't eat porridge for about a year after I came back because it was a bit much. But
so, yeah, I mean, this is tragic news about disappointing breakfast. But in general, I'm a big, big fan of breakfast, of all types of breakfast. Although I rarely eat breakfast, which is bad. Tell me off.
terrible.
Terrible.
How dare you?
This is all we've got time for today. And we will see you next week. Hopefully you will not see us, but listen. Because that would be weird. That would be weird. Whoop, whoop, goodbye. See you next week. No, hear you next. No, you hear us next week. Oh, no.